Hey everyone, I'm Lindsey, owner of Black Sapphire Design. Formerly a costume company, I am here now teaching you how to make your own dance costumes and accessories for your hardest working dancers. In the next few videos, I'll be showing you how to make one of our best-selling leotards from our website from the past few years, and we'll be making it in this gorgeous floral mesh. In today's video, we are covering how to cut out your leotard.
For straight edges like binding, you'll want to use a quilting ruler and a sharp rotary blade. Also grab your pair of serrated, micro-serrated fiskars or similar scissors, pins and pin cushions or magnets. You can also use fabric weights. Make sure you're choosing fabrics that have a good 4-way stretch. A Lycra brand or Milliskin is a great fabric for your base on any leotard or brief. Also choose a lining that has a good 4-way stretch as well. You'll also want your pattern pieces. The ones I use are actually made out of painter's plastic. It's what I use to draft my patterns. If you need to cut binding, you'll want to start by making sure your fabric is folded at 90-degree angles, making sure that you are getting a nice clean cut. This way your binding will have straight edges. Stretch fabric does not have a true grain like a woven fabric will, but if you look closely, you can still see ridges in the fabric. You want to work with those and make sure that they line up properly with your pattern, either perpendicular or parallel. Just be sure to follow the directions on your pattern. When laying out the pattern pieces, I always try to preserve as much space as possible so that I have as much fabric left over as I can get. Then it's time to remove your pins, notch your centers for easier sewing, and set aside. For any pieces that need to be lined, I am laying them out, the cut pieces, on a single layer of lining here, paying attention to the stretch of the lining to make sure it matches the stretch of the briefs. I find this is easier because the lining tends to pucker when I fold it, and that leads to the lining pieces not matching up with the actual pattern pieces, and it causes trouble down the road. Also, you'll note I'm using the magnets as a weight instead of actually pinning through this fabric. It's just my preference at this point. You can do whatever you need to make sure that your fabric is not moving around on the lining, and just make sure that everything is laying flat when you cut it. Repeat the process for the bandeau top and any other pieces that you might need lined for your project. For this project, I am going to be serging the edges of this bandeau top to the lining, so I find it easiest to actually pin right now rather than later. This is our designer fabric. You'll want to check at this point if the fabric has a directional pattern or if it's flexible and you can lay out your pattern pieces wherever you need to. Check for the stretch. You want to make sure that if it's only a two-way stretch mesh, that the stretch is going around the body, meaning widthwise, hip to hip. You'll see the arrows on your pattern pieces that should match up with the way that the stretch goes. This fabric does not have a strong directional design, meaning I can place the pattern pieces where I'd like, and I'm just going with the way that the stretch works with the fabric. As always, make sure your fabric is lying flat. Check your folded edge. Smooth away from the edge with your hands or a ruler. Pin your pattern pieces starting with the center lines, making sure they match up with the fold. This is another reason I like to use the clear plastic. And then start pinning at the folded edge and work your way away from it. Just make sure that before you cut, everything is laying flat. Repeat the process for the briefs. Lay out, pin, cut, and set aside. In the next video, we'll be going over how to pin your project together and prepare it for assembly.
Did you like today's video? Like and subscribe, follow us over on social media, and let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see covered next. Bye!